What's up guys, FlamingVictini here. Today we're going to be talking about Stakataka, one of the new Ultra Beasts that was released in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon. Now Stakataka has some really interesting qualities, one of them being its very fun to pronounce name. But I love saying Stakataka. Anyway, so Stakataka has some really interesting properties, and I want to talk a little bit about what sets can make Stakataka really good and viable. So Stakataka, of course, has an insane defense stat. 211 is very huge. It's actually less than Mega Steelix's though, and Stakataka is Rock Steel type, which makes it quad weak to ground, and that's one of the big downsides of trying to use Stakataka as a defensive mon, although we will still talk about that. And Stakataka, but what really sets apart Stakataka is its huge attack stat. 131 is very respectable. That's pretty strong. As you can see with an Adamant Max Invested Nature, it's just shy of 400 in the attack stat. And it also has a very low speed, base 13. And it has access to Stab Gyro Ball, which means it has the strongest Gyro Ball in the entire game of Pokemon. It's a very incredibly strong Gyro Ball. It's going to be hitting base 150 power, or at minimum like base 100 power on basically everything it clicks Gyro Ball on, which is really huge. Like, it's a very strong Gyro Ball, and it's also got access to Stone Edge with Stab as well. And actually the first set we're going to talk about is Trick Room. It actually gets access to Trick Room, which is really good for Stakataka, because with this very slow speed stat, after it clicks Trick Room, it's going to be outrunning pretty much every single other Pokemon. And it's got great coverage, so it's got Edgequake coverage, which can hit basically everything for neutral damage except for, say, Bronzong with Levitate. And it can use Rock EMZ to power up that Stone Edge, make it 100% accurate, and get that Continental Crush, which can do a ton of damage, like a whole lot of damage. Trick Room, of course, can set up the Trick Room, and this is great for Trick Room based teams, because Stakataka can not only set up the Trick Room, but immediately become one of the biggest threats that the Trick Room team has, but it can also support the rest of its team with the Trick Room. And then of course a Gyro Ball, which is just insanely strong, most of the time going to be base 150 power. Now, the Stakataka, of course being an Ultra Beast, has Beast Boost. And considering Stakataka's very high defense stat, you may think that this Beast Boost would normally end up going uselessly into defense. However, with some trickery, including using a Lonely Nature to reduce the defense stat and reducing some of the defensive IVs on Stakataka, we can make the defense stat exactly match the attack stat. You could also make it lower too, but there's no reason to do that, because you still want to retain as much defense as possible. So even though we're reducing our own defense, we're still very bulky, and very crucially, what this allows Beast Boost to do is to give Stakataka an attack boost, because it prioritizes attack over defense even when there's the same stat. So you will always get an attack boost with a minus defense nature and 15 defense IVs and a max attack invested Stakataka, when both of them hit 397. So when you get this attack boost, Stakataka can quickly like Gyro Ball out of control and just start hitting through your opponent's team very fast. For example, let's say you've weakened their Landorus a little bit. Let's run the calc on Stakataka versus Landorus. This is choice banded Stakataka, but we'll talk about that soon. Landorus defensive. Gyro Ball is doing 37 to 44%, which is insane, and a Z Stone Edge is going to power that up to 45 plus 53. I think with rocks, rocks, and depending on the rules, that can KO. With just a little bit of prior damage, that can KO. So even though you're going to be at -1, you're going to get an attack boost and get right back up. Let's say the opponent sacks something so that they can bring in Lando without having to take a hit. You're still going to get an attack boost, so when he comes in for Intimidate, you're going to be neutralized, and your Gyro Ball is going to be doing 56 to 67, which is insane power. So it's really important that the Stakataka's defense, if you're using an offensive Stakataka, it's crucially important that its defense is lowered, such that the Beast Boost can give an attack boost to Stakataka. And of course you want to minimize the speed IVs as well. It can make a huge difference here. 31 speed IVs doubles Stakataka's speed to 62, which makes its Gyro Ball much weaker. It's very significantly weaker. But when you reduce this to 0 speed IVs, you take out 31 stats, and it goes down to base it goes down to 31 speed, which makes Stakataka's gyro ball much stronger. So that's very crucial to keep in mind. The rest, we've just invested in HP to maximize the bulk, and the remaining is in special defense, since we don't really want to touch anything else, and there's no point in investing in special attacks. So that's the Trick Room Stakataka. If you're not interested in using a full Trick Room team, but you still want to take advantage of the very good breaking capabilities of Stakataka, Choice Band is for you. Now, one of the mons that gives this Trick Room Stakataka problem is Ferrothorn. As you can see, opposing steel types resist Gyro Ball, Stone Edge. Not Earthquake, but Ferrothorn does, and Scissor does as well, and we'll talk about both of them. Meaning that you can't get super effective damage, you can only get neutral damage on Ferrothorn at best, and a very physically defensive Ferrothorn can take on Stakataka's hits. However, when you're running Choice Band, there's no need to run Trick Room, and you can afford an extra move slot, and here we can run Super Power. What Super Power allows you to do is like just completely smash the Ferrothorn. It does around 88 to 100. Actually, let me just show the calc. Choice Banded Stakataka versus Ferrothorn, and as you can see, 82 to 97. Very powerful Choice Band superpower, and if you get the kill with the Beast Boost, you gain your attack stat right back up. So that Choice Band Stakataka is very strong. I'm gonna actually show some. Let's just show some calcs to see how strong it is. It's a Choice Band Stakataka doing 53 to 62 to a physically defensive Stellastila. To Landorus, defensive Landorus, it's gonna 2-hit KO you with Gyro Ball, doing 56 to 66, which is really strong. Like, even that's stronger than Mega Mawwile's Play Rough. That's how strong that is. Insanely. Let's just run a calc to compare. Mega Mawwile Play Rough, 38 to 45. Let's just run Metacham Zen Headbutt, let's say 30 to 36. These are stab moves at -1. Choice Band Stakataka, 56 to 66. That is very strong damage, and Lando is one of the premier defensive walls of the OU tier, meaning that if your opponent's relying solely on Lando to sponge most hits from physical attackers, Stakataka will power right through immediately. Now, of course, Stakataka is very slow and quad weak to Earthquake, so it'll have to switch out after it gets off that huge Gyro Ball, but it's doing so much damage that it won't be able to consistently switch into it. In fact, it's so strong. Let me just show you versus Hippowdon, which is a slow, very physically bulky Pokemon. Actually, let's make this versus physically defensive. Gyro Ball still has a chance to 2-hit KO after Stealth Rocks and Leftovers. If it's more especially defensive to handle electric types, it's going to 2-hit KO. Now, again, this is still troublesome because Hippowdon is faster and can Earthquake the Stakataka, but actually Stakataka has such good defense that even with reduced defense, it can potentially, and a quad effective hit, it can potentially live that Earthquake. Now, Hippowdon is still going to be able to beat Stakataka because Gyro Ball has only 8 PP and Hippowdon can slack off stall it, but that's just a testament to how strong Stakataka really is. Now, these are the two main sets that I think should be used in basically every tier, especially OU. But if you're interested in defensive Stakataka, Stakataka does have access to Stealth Rocks. Of course, a still very strong Gyro Ball, and of course Stab Rock Blast, which is good on a defensive mon, or Earthquake if you want to hit steel types that are immune to Toxic. Now, because Stakataka has really great defense, it naturally stands out as a good candidate for a defensive mon. You can run a lot of HP and Leftovers to augment its bulk, and run the rest in special defense. There's very little value. Like, let's look. If you add 252 defense, you're going to get 573, but 500 is already huge. So there's very little value. By investing in special defense instead, you can sort of augment Stakataka's overall bulk and get better use out of it, especially since Stakataka is part rock type. He could take fire moves pretty well, and that's one of the useful qualities of him being a steel rock type, and since most fire moves are special, you'd want to be able to take those special attacks well. Now, of course, I don't really recommend defensive Stakataka. Again, like I said, I think Steelix mostly outclasses it. In terms of typing, it has better HP, better defense, and it's slightly less SPDF, which is basically made up for with this better HP. And so Steelix is much more bulky, and it doesn't have that quad weakness to ground, which is really huge because a lot of physical attackers have coverage like Earthquake that can hit Stakataka really hard. For example, like Glalie is very common in RU, but normally you'd think Stakataka would be a great Glalie answer, but if Glalie can kill you with a double edge plus Earthquake, you're not really doing anything. Whereas Steelix can take 2 very easily, can take 3 double edges, I think. So I don't think defensive Stakataka will be very good. Instead, stick to Bandit or Trick Room if you're running a Trick Room team. Now, of course, if you want to deal with Stakataka, you're pretty worried about it because it just runs through your team. Some very good answers to it. Ferrothorn will answer everything except for Choice Bandit's superpower very, very well. Scizor. Now, Scizor takes about... Let's run the calcs versus Stakataka and defensive Scizor. So... Let's make this very physically defensive Scizor. Stone Edge is going to be doing 57 to 67 if it's Choice Banded, which is very, very good. However, Choice Banded can miss and Scizor can roost stall, so you're not very guaranteed to break through Scizor. And let's see, Trick Room Stakataka is not going to be able to 2-hit KO Scizor. It gets a one-time nuke with the Continental Crush, which does a ton of damage. However, because Scizor is always going to be faster, it can always just roost up on the Continental Roost up and stay out of range of an Oko from the Continental Crush, and then Stakataka won't be able to break it. And then of course Hippowdon can as well switch in without taking too much damage, recover off with Slack Off, and stop Stakataka from making progress even when Gyro Ball 2-hit KOs. Now of course again, Stakataka's... So these are some things that are very annoying. I think probably Hippowdon is the most annoying thing, but it's very, very uncommon. Scizor is breakable with Choice Band, as is Ferrothorn. So I think Band is probably the most self-sufficient set. However, if you're going to be using a Trick Room set, it's really great on Trick Room teams, and I would pair it with something that can help wear down each other's checks. So like, for example, Crawdont. Crawdont loves Trick Room support, and I can often push in Ferrothorn or even Scizor and get off a Crab Hammer on the Scizor, a knockoff on the Ferrothorn, and that can be really, really great. Pair it with things like Mawile, because Hippowdon needs to answer both Mawile and Stakataka. It won't be able to beat both, and that can be really, really great as well. So, I think with Stakataka, if you want to go for the Trick Room team, try to overload on physical attackers. And if you're going with a Banded, just try to make sure that if there is something that can completely hardwall you, like Hippowdon or potentially Scizor, then try to make your team have some threats that can do really good against those, like Keldeo or something, for example. Anyway, that's Stakataka. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And comment if you have any other Stakataka sets that I didn't talk about in this video, I didn't realize could be used. If you have any experiences with Stakataka, comment about those. And I'm going to be pasting a Stakataka team for you to try out. It's going to be a Trick Room team with Stakataka. So feel free to try that out if you want to see what Stakataka is like and sort of get into it before you build your own team. So yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.